Welcome to this executive summary presentation on how to plan and manage risk like a project management professional. In this video, we focus on situations, interpretations, and responses as required by this task of the PMP certification exam content outline. A companion video on the same task focuses on the concepts, frameworks, and methods. To effectively use this guide, we apply a three-part structure to every risk scenario: analyzing the situation, identifying the underlying governance, and determining the appropriate disciplined response. Our first theme is thresholds and escalation. When a project's exposure exceeds predefined governance boundaries, it can no longer be managed as routine, requiring formal reporting and escalation. Consider a situation where a technical failure risk breaches a 30% threshold. This is a control failure, not a delivery decision. The response must include updating the register and escalating to the sponsor. Similarly, if geopolitical tariffs push costs beyond authorized limits, the project team must document the breach and escalate the situation to the governing body for a decision before making further commitments. This is a sample from the complete PMP learning solution at pmprep.de, comprising the multimedia e-learning course and a separate exam simulation pack. It is built for self-study and for training providers who need brand-neutral after-class support for their students. Explore the platform at pmprep.de or contact the author at orlando@casaban.com. Our second theme is risk identification. A narrow focus leads to unexamined exposures. We need a structured approach to identify risks across all categories, including supply chain and commercial factors. If identification only surfaces technical concerns, the project faces a major gap. The response involves using a risk breakdown structure to broaden the lens and ensure all enterprise environmental factors are evaluated. Ignoring prior project experience during identification is another critical error. We should review historical data, such as previous risk registers and lessons learned, to inform our current analysis effectively. Moving on to qualitative risk analysis, we must ensure assessments rely on a shared, consistent standard. Inconsistent criteria undermine the credibility of the entire project priority list. When stakeholders disagree on risk ratings, it is often a symptom of missing governance criteria. The response is to use standardized probability and impact definitions to align all assessments. Leaving sustainability exposure outside of active risk control weakens governance. We must treat these long-term liabilities with the same discipline as any other project threat. Our fourth theme covers quantitative risk analysis. When stakeholders need probability-based answers regarding budget or schedule, qualitative methods are simply not sufficient. To provide budget confidence, perform a Monte Carlo analysis. This generates a probability distribution of possible outcomes, providing the necessary foundation for high-level governance decisions. Finally, when finance rejects contingency funding, ensure you provide a financial basis. Calculate the expected monetary value for your risks to support your reserve estimations with clear, analytical data. Moving to our fifth theme, let's explore risk response strategies. Success depends on matching the right strategy to the nature and level of your exposure. Choosing incorrectly can leave the project vulnerable or waste valuable resources. In this situation, a known flood-prone route is still in the plan. Continuing with a known threat is a governance weakness. The response is to apply an avoidance strategy by changing the route and updating your baseline documentation. When a project lacks internal capability for a mandatory audit, don't force it. The appropriate response is a transfer strategy. Formally engage a qualified third party and update your risk register to maintain clear governance. Our sixth theme focuses on monitoring and control. Risks are not static. Conditions change and new information emerges, requiring us to continuously revisit our trigger parameters and act promptly when thresholds shift. Here, a low visibility risk materialized because warning conditions weren't tracked beyond simple impact. We must monitor indicators like urgency and dormancy. Update the register and execute controls immediately when these metrics change. A common failure occurs when a contingent trigger is reached, but the team waits. A trigger is an action threshold, not a prompt for another review. When the condition is met, execute the plan immediately. Theme 7 addresses residual, secondary, and emerging risks. Risk management doesn't stop once a response is implemented. You must confirm that residual levels are acceptable before closing any risk entry. If mitigation reduces a risk but the residual impact still exceeds tolerance, the work isn't done. Reassess the new probability and impact, then determine if further mitigation, avoidance, or escalation is necessary. When an active response creates a new problem, such as integration issues after adding a supplier, you have a secondary risk. Record this as a new first-class entry in your register and manage it explicitly. Theme 8 covers overall project risk. Individual risks might seem controlled, but their aggregate impact can make the project untenable. This situation requires governance-level decisions rather than routine management. When combined exposures make delivery credibility doubtful, assess the aggregate risk. Broader actions like resequencing, scope revision, or escalating to the sponsor are required when systemic exposure moves beyond tolerance. If technical shifts make the final deliverable obsolete, this is no longer a simple risk. It is a fundamental question of viability. Submit a formal recommendation for termination if objectives are no longer achievable. Our final theme examines unknown events and ambiguity. Some threats come from conditions unknown in advance. These situations demand governance responses even when the exposure cannot yet be precisely framed. When an unplanned accident occurs with no contingency funding, shift your approach. This is now an issue, not a risk. Request access to management reserves and manage the impact directly. Lastly, manage ambiguity by documenting it clearly for future clarification. Even without a perfect risk event statement, assign responsibility for assessment and update your register as the situation becomes more defined. Our 10th theme is risk reporting and communication. Remember that data is not the same as insight. Sponsors need a decision-grade overview of risk exposure, not just a raw dump of the risk register. When a sponsor only receives the full risk register, they lack the clarity to make high-level decisions. A risk report should be a governance tool that highlights high-priority exposures, breaches, and the effectiveness of your response strategies. Avoid the trap of letting minor risks clutter your management attention. Important security exposures can be overlooked when you focus on the volume of entries rather than their actual consequence. Shift low-priority items to a watch list and focus your effort on material threats. In summary, governance boundaries are non-negotiable. Your register must be a living document. Reports must be designed for decision-making, and opportunities require the same level of disciplined management as your threats do. To fully develop your skills to think, decide, and answer like a project management professional, PMPrep.de provides the complete PMP learning solution, comprising the multimedia e-learning course and a separate exam simulation pack. It is built for individual learners preparing on their own and for training providers who want to give their students a solid, brand-neutral multimedia after-class support. Explore the platform at pmprep.de or contact the author at orlando@casabone.com.